ongoing in the Doppler weather radar in Yola and Maiduguri.
By end of 2013, we will have 6 Doppler radar weather systems running all over the country, and that gives a good coverage of our airspace, which means weather systems that come into the country, we will be able to track them before they come into the country, and we'll be able to follow their development and advise the airline operators or pilots in particular. We will be able to address them, inform them of the weather situations before flights, during flights, and for purposes of planning too.
Before now, determining the height, amount of precipitation, speed of movement of rain-bearing clouds is a major challenge to pilots. But with the installed Doppler radar system in Nigerian airspace, this incapacity is taken care of.
Sometime about a year ago, and when we are crossing the Sahara Desert, we ran into turbulence. Before we got into the turbulence, the captain announced that we are going into an area of turbulence, but not to worry. We had prior information about this from the Nigerian Meteorological Agency. I can tell you, I was very proud.
The climate change these days, you can't even predict what the weather will look like. NIMET has been able to, for the first time, come up with equipment. Under the present administration, they have been given due attention. Anything they request for, they get. That's how come they were able to predict the flooding that happened recently. Even though people thought that this was NIMET of yesteryears, what they predicted came up.
The policy thrust of President Goodluck Jonathan's administration is anchored on the transformation of all sectors of the Nigerian economy and governance processes. Watch the Transformation Agenda, a new and insightful television series on the issues, policies,
the President has done his work,
and actions of the federal government.
Our aerotropolis is very elaborate, has huge business potentials and opportunities and enablers.
Now you can keep tabs with the President's promise because you have the right to know.
We want to lead a country where people will be less greedy, where people will know that the commonwealth of Nigerians belong to all Nigerians, where people will no longer live as prisoners. This country must be transformed.
The Transformation Agenda, showing on Channels Television Wednesdays 4:30 p.m. The Transformation Agenda, keeping the record straight and promoting accountability. The Transformation Agenda is brought to you by Neighbor to Neighbor. Similarly, the low-level wind shear alert system is an equipment that is enhancing the effective reporting of the weather.
Wind shear is one of the phenomena that when it happens, especially the low-level ones, when an aircraft encounters it without warning, most times it brings the aircraft down. And the extreme case of it is the microburst. So we have this equipment installed. We have it in Abuja, we have it in the 4 international airports and the other airports too.
The low-level wind shear alert system also assists pilots during critical times of takeoff and landing, when they must determine whether to attempt to land or take off in severe turbulence.
The console for the low-level wind shear alert system is echoed on the air traffic controller's desk. So what the weather, the meteorologist and the forecaster in NIMET forecast office is seeing, the air traffic controller is seeing the same thing at the same time.
We have competent men who operate them, read them, and inform the pilots and the control tower of incidences of wind shear, so that the aircraft can hold on if it's already coming into land. If it is taking off, it can hold on, because wind shear is a phenomenon that lasts for not for a very long time, you can wait it out and operate your flight normally.
Thunderstorms and lightning constitute major hazard for aircraft, but with the detectors the federal government has installed, NIMET easily detects thunderstorm and lightning within a range of 200 kilometers.
We have these lightning and thunder detectors in almost all the airports, and some of them are outside the airport system, so they detect these lightning events and the pilots are provided the information in a timely manner and they avoid such areas.
With the assistance of the upper air sounding equipment, the condition of the atmosphere at different heights can be ascertained.
Before this government came on board, there was only one upper air station in the whole country that is 930,000 square kilometers wide. That is not acceptable by any standard. This is what this administration is doing. That is in the spirit of transformation agenda.
Another milestone in the aviation transformation is the installation of integrated aviation weather observing and display system. It is designed to monitor weather conditions along airport runways.
The beauty about integrated automatic weather observing system is that it is installed along the runway. These instruments are arranged along the runway so that it picks every weather event along the runway, not just at a particular spot. If the wind at the middle of the runway is of a particular force, the awards will let you know that. If it is a different wind regime at the beginning of the runway, it will let you know that.
The RETIM Synergy satellite image receivers currently installed in 4 major airports is used for receiving real-time weather images from the meteorological satellite NIMET operated by the European Union.
Today, the Nigerian Meteorological Agency and NAMA have equipment on the field that receive this weather report and electronically transmits it to the tower into digital form that a pilot will tune 1285 megahertz frequency in his cockpit and receives it. We call it ATIS, Automated Terminal Information Service. The man will receive the pressure, the temperature, whatever he needs. If there's rain, he will know.
The industry is sitting up now to make sure that things are put in proper perspective. I believe that the current minister is doing her very best. From the report we had in the Senate, we're trying to make sure that the Committee on Aviation puts in place very, very stringent measures to ensure and guarantee safety of Nigerians on our airspace.
We have conventional stations, we have automated stations, we also have satellite-based systems that can give you, when we are talking of the time of serving the aviation, we have equipment that we call MSG, Metal Science Second Generation System. The companies that came up with these systems that are using satellite systems, also they relied on the data that are being generated by member countries in the world.
As a result of the agency's achievements in the course of delivering its statutory mandate, NIMET has received the International Standard Organization Certificate ISO 9001 on aeronautical meteorological services. This has made NIMET the first meteorological agency in sub-Saharan Africa to receive ISO certification.
Officially and internationally, we have been so commended. The whole thing has epitomized in the ISO 9001 certification. I mean, we in NIMET, we are so proud of it. We in NIMET, we are so grateful to our minister who has provided this unprecedented focused leadership that has taken us to where we are. But you see, the whole thing is a journey, it's not a destination.
The inauguration of an interministerial committee on a national framework for application of climate services is another testimony of President Jonathan's commitment to transformation of the entire aviation sector.
Mr. President has recently inaugurated approved the setting up of an interministerial committee on to develop the national framework for application of climate services. The committee is working, and NIMET is playing a key role. In fact, the minister has set up an expert task team to do the technical work and all that about the national framework for climate services. And that expert task team, ETT, is being chaired by my humble self, and we are working around the clock to give Nigerians a good quality climate service.
Aviation safety is being given the needed attention and support. The 2013 aviation policy identified the need to establish a national safety program in compliance with the International Civil Aviation Organization Safety Management Program.
Part 5 deals with the establishment of ICAO's State Safety Program, which would ensure that aviation service providers have adequate safety management systems in accordance with ICAO's Safety Management Manual.
Talking about general aviation as well, we're also talking about regulation from NCA. All these are based on ICAO international standards and standard of operating procedures. So all those sectors, general aviation, pilgrimage, cargo, private jet ownership, all those sectors have been taken into consideration for the total benefit of the policy, for the overall benefit of the aviation sector.
However, for NIMET, the acquisition of the latest technology may not be enough for a holistic transformation of the agency. Vigorous training and retraining program for personnel is regularly carried out to enhance efficiency and effectiveness.
As much as we're expanding and upgrading our equipment, our human resources must be upgraded, and so training is part of the package. So every year there are requisite training, professional training that each professional operator must go through. Again, so we're in tandem with international best practice.
Training and retraining is a very important aspect for us to ensure professionalism. What we deal with here are instruments anyway, high-tech equipment, and the equipment cannot operate itself. It must be operated accurately. It must be operated by trained hands. Otherwise, they will even ruin the equipment. The equipment in itself is useless without the human being. So our philosophy here in NIMET is that while we are acquiring equipment, we should also empower those who will operate them.
We have equally embarked on massive training. People have been trained locally and abroad to acquire the requisite skills that you require to be able to make very good forecasts.
If you have a better way of observing your data and it's more accurately observed, and you also have more equipment to analyze them, better one, cutting edge technology, and you have trained your staff to acquire the modern technique, then there's no way your products will not be tops too. So that's one way NIMET has achieved that. They have not left any stone unturned in training their staff and in acquiring the right equipment.
With the developments in the aviation sector, such as remodeling of 22 federal airports, policy and institutional reforms, NIMET and other agencies of the Federal Ministry of Aviation aim to achieve zero accidents in the Nigerian airspace.
I give the credit to the leadership of my minister. I give the credit to the transformation agenda we are implementing. You see, when you have a visionary leadership, it defines clearly the direction. Ours is to follow and implement, and that is why we do all we can to do our own part to make sure that those dreams in the transformation agenda, in the aviation sector reform, as far as my own agency is concerned, that we are not found wanting. And I'm happy that so far we have been so commended.